Good morning, beautiful family and light. Let's see if this goes live first. We're gonna do this. Good morning, beautiful family in the light. Merry Christmas Eve to all of you. If you're celebrating the eve of this KrystMass, happy holidays, happy Kwanzaa, happy everything to every single one of you. Good morning and blessed day to all. I wanted to go live today as it's been a while that I have gone live on my own page and have the opportunity to break down a few things that have taken place in this solar eclipse and particularly this grand conjunction and the real importance of being really rebirthed, like be earth in a very different vibration. So I wanted to just welcome all of you that are joining in as it does tie to this master crystalline wheel that I had painted. So I wanted to just share a few things with all of you as my gift to humanity, my gift to all of you for being such a valuable, important, sacred being in my life, for always showing up, for coming on live and being present. And I want you to just be really fully present today as I share a few things with you. And I'm going to tie a few things up for all of us that may be able to put things into perspective from that greater, expanded, conscious, really presence, so that we all can welcome the true present into our life, which we already are. So, first and most, we are all here and we have gone through this incredible alignment. And I want to get into a bit of the mechanics of this alignment that took place on 12/21 and why it was so significant. Let me just adjust this here. And before doing so, let me just speak of the crystalline master wheel. Many of you got a chance to see that I posted this, and I posted the living transmission as I did it live on the YouTube channel. This is the crystalline master wheel that came to me on October 31st when I was teaching the first class of the ancient sacred breath of the whales. He revealed itself to me with carrying the diamond frequency that is from the heart of the eternal breath. And this eternal breath does tie into the plasma beingness. I'm going to speak to that, how these tie together. And it is the Christ, crystalline Christus frequency, the breath, which is the golden, luminous nature of our HUluminousity being. The new humanity is HUluminousity beingness. And I did this live transmission and I made copies of it for my students in my ancient sacred breath of the whale class, which we ended on 12/19, and so that they could be ready and prepared for 12/21. This image of this is right here and it is, I printed it at CVS. Those that are in the US, you can just literally print it and have it at your altar. It does tie into my two previous transmissions of the will of God. Here we go, the will of God that I've spoken quite a bit about. The blue, the first ray, that is the diamond frequency from the heart of mighty I am presence, and then the triple flame. And there's a lot that goes into it. You can see my previous email, and this literally is the center of it. So you can print that. That's my gift to you. Enjoy it, embrace it, put it at your altar, and allow the transmission to really support you. So, what I want to share about this and what I want to share about 1221 that ties together has to do with, as we know, these cycles and cycles and cycles on so called mm, time. And this particular one was a lot of focus energy was on it because it ties to a 20-year cycle. Then it ties to another 200-year cycle. Then it ties to another 800-year cycle. Then it ties to another 2000-year cycle, where this Jupiter energy and Saturn energy came together. This coming together is many individuals attributing it to the planets in astronomy, like astrological signs of it on the outside, without really recognizing the revelation of the inside. So it is through the inner cosmology that is being revealed to us. When these two frequencies come together, it is the unification of the omnipresence. The omnipresence that's always been the living presence that is creating this field of light with our solar system that is within the frequency of the sun energy. We are the living sons and daughters of God. We are that conscious awareness that is immortal, shadowless, eternal in its flame, in its luminous, in its magnificence and radiance. So when these coming together of the unification that takes place, which creates the star of Bethlehem, it is truly the inner star, like there's this bursting, like a star burst taking place, because it's already embedded within the DNA. It has already been inside the DNA through the RNA, and it's been restructured so that kind of like a time release capsule where finally it is able to be birth, like literally birth. So we're looking at it like as a living birth, birth, but there's also the word that I use, be earth, like being, be, and then earth. So it is that luminous presence that's ignited within, and then it is being brought into this dimensional conscious reality from its higher presence. So when I'm speaking of the presence, I'm speaking of the presence that is not just here in our solar system, not just on Earth. It is happening within all universes and multiverses, and it is in all the galaxies, this bursting of light spectrum, this sort of like the suns within all universes, all planets, all of them are having this inner sun that is being reignited. And that reignition has to do in the one consciousness that brings itself together in its breath and breathes it out to burst, literally like bursting the new octaves of light, which is this plasma light that from the great central sun, from Alpha and Omega, and to Helios and Vesta, through the galactic sun, through the solar sun, it's all the inner sun. It is the all really connected to the heart, that sun luminousness that is being bursted outward in all direction, being a shining star, so that its plasma consciousness is radiating the higher awareness, the higher presence of its own Godhead, Goddess head, the true reality of the omnipresence of the oneness. So, why I'm sharing this? Because there are different timelines that are taking place, and some that are ready, like many of you all that are on here, were ready to just literally sit within the presence and allow yourself, like being the going through the metamorphosis, the crystalline nature, to come out metamorphosized in the new octavite light as a plasmic being, because the consciousness of the mighty I am, in its might, in its eye, not this eye, this eye of all seeing eye that is present in all, is Christus, is crystalline, it's it's eternal, and it never ceases to finish, diminish, go out, because it is just eternal. And that presence ignites within our 50 trillion cells to remember its own true reality, a reality of conscious awareness that we always knew and have known, because we've gone through this solar flash bursting many times, where during the sort of called the history of our planet, where there's a lot of political shifts taking place, then here we are, these grand junctures happening where there is this bursting of the new reality, but the new realities are happening within. So it is the interstellar, literally, travel that opens up to the inner cosmic awareness, into the universal field of all conscious awareness, that gets to experience its own holy crystalline self, the holy Christ self, that knows it is time for it to become the living Christ, coming from the magnificence of it, the eternal flame of the might that is in that I am, that I am. And when this happens, there is this within the plasma, what I want to really speak of, there is a plasma radiance, and within it, it's literally expanding in all consciousness within the lower bodies, from the physical, the emotional, the mental, the etheric and spiritual body. It's bursting, like kind of like a wave, like the way this wave, that flash goes throughout the whole universe. That's what's happening within us. So all of it comes to the omnipresence of this crystalline golden awareness that ignites. So it carries the biological, original, divine blueprint. And that's what the plasma is, because it's already restructured in the origin that is within all consciousness, all planets, all universes, all multiverses, all galaxies and nebulas and everything, so that it can then carry the records, the living records from all lifetime into this now, to then be earthed. So that's what that point of mine is when I posted it on my Facebook page, be earth. So I got to actually literally experience this, and it was really incredible. So some individuals may have a cognizant experience of it, and that's fine. Some may have like an emotional component of this experience, and the elders and many indigenous cultures and the prophecies have spoken about this for a long time, for this moment, because they knew that means the age of Aquarius, being that air energy, is finally coming. So removing from this energy that we were from 12,500 years to this 12,500 years, the birthing of it. So, of course, we started at 8 years, but and there's been this, we've had to get our systems ready. Our bodies could not be fully anchored in the plasma light until now, because there were enough individuals that had to first hone it in and go through the so-called the treasures of the triggers that had come in, the gifts of the triggers that had come in through this 8 year cycle, so that our physical and emotional and mental and etheric body can have the opportunity to meet these treasures, to receive the gifts, to then lift it up, allow the DNA to adjust, so that we have, this has been a cycle and cycle until we can arrive to this point where we have gone through quite a bit of purging, releasing, transformation, transcendence, so that we can stay and hone in the frequency of the plasma beingness. It is a consciousness that is the inner consciousness through the interstellar gateway, the inner, literally, stargate that has opened up, that can access all. It is completely detached from the outer reality that has played out, that is part of dismantling, because the the this luminous HUluminousity that has come in, incarnated onto earth to bring this frequency onto the planet, to ground it into earth's grid, earth's crystalline grid, so that through the junctures of these sacred places on earth, and many of them that are also unknown, this unification of the sacred divine feminine, sacred divine masculine within the oneness of the within can be anchored properly. And then those of us who are in sacred divine union partnership, we've had to go through that metamorphosis ourselves to then have our light in between be able to be anchored in these areas, and literally just grounded into these different ley lines of earth's crystalline grid, so that together we are then be earthing the new realities in co-creation from the omnipresence, the all-inclusive magnificence, radiance of the truth of the oneness that is in pure luminosity of light. There is no shadow in it. So Earth is a planet of cause and effect. So we've had to experience that, but we have also been in conscious presence that knows only oneness. And that's why we reincarnated back during this time, particularly for the planetary ascension, so that we can bring the consciousness into here. And it has to do with the eternal flame, the eternal fountain of light, which this particular Master Crystalline Whale is all about. The teachings of that comes from 75,000 years ago, where the indigenous tribe took the knowledge of this youth, the fountain of youth, the eternal youth and beauty, which is in only only existent in divinity. That was a knowledge that had so much power, even so hidden within the indigenous tribes. And then it was brought forth as a living breath, so that when we go into the breath, we can literally birth, we earth it from that consciousness through our prana too. And the master whales had taught us how to breathe this, how to breathe it and to bring it in. And this is the class and the level threes that I had finished, which I was blessed, fortunate enough 7, 8 years ago, with the oracle that I studied with my Arcturian council had sent me for this planetary work, which I didn't even know what it was about, and to find out what these living libraries were that I was seeing with their geometric writings in all these tablets and tablets that I was seeing. What is this? What am I supposed to do with this? So it's taken a while to recognize it all and be able to bring it as a living transmission. So when I create an art, whether it's these, let me see if you can see that one before, or the other ones that carry the living rays of light, these are all living consciousness. So on Tuesday, I felt blessed enough in our Tuesday night meditation. I got to actually experience, after 7 years of working with these decrees, saying the decrees, these rays of light decrees, calling him in and working with him, I got to actually experience the vastness of the actual decree, where I became the living decree. But I went so far out. So some of you that want to watch that Tuesday night meditation, I'll post it here. I am just completely gone. Where towards then I was so far out, and Michael closes the meditation, and it takes me an hour to come back with a couple of people that were here, help me ground it. Because what happens is I get to actually experience, a lot of times when we go meditation, we get to experience in our frontal lobe or the screens what is taking place in the imagery. Yet there is another one when you actually get to travel through the living portals and come to a different dimensional conscious presence, where you, as the consciousness, becomes the living consciousness of that ray of light, the decree. So I became the decree of the blue flame and the violet flame. And it was so expansive that I still am integrating, don't quite have the proper language for it. And within that, I met Master Lady Portia. Now, I've met many masters. This was completely different as an experience. And what happened with that, she brought the freedom's flame of, literally the freedom's flame that is the combination of the blue and violet flame of transmutation that carries the purification and gold in it, in my hand, and and reminded me that we each literally carry the liberation freedom in our hands. So she placed it in my hands, and that activation was the remembrance of this star burst as a plasma being. Everything is already encoded. So when we are carrying these codes of light, we're literally carrying the frequency as a transmission that can become a living presence, as a like a star burst that's become sun, it's become solar, so that it can vibrate out, just as our the planets in our solar systems sits within the vicinity of the sun that radiates its burst and light, and this happens across all cosmos, but it is actually happening directly inside. It is being demonstrated outside to help us remember what is already taking place within. And the key, the living key, is the heart, and that the plasma cannot happen anywhere else but within your heart. It literally comes from your heart to all your organs, to all your muscles, to all your bones, to all your neurotransmitters, your cells, your skin, and everything, and then your emotional, mental, etheric, spiritual body. So, as a luminous being, not a the homeo, the different presence. I can't even say the word anymore. See, like it doesn't even come because I can't even resonate with it. We're luminous because we're carrying the entire spectrum of the rainbow frequency, and that's where this rainbow tribe prophecies is all about. And that's where there was all this focus in Uluru, because it is happening at a cosmic, universal, galactic, divine level. So we are fully aligning that grand junction within so that we can burst this literally outside of us from inside out. And this is why we go into 2021 with this fifth dimension of 2021 is this fifth dimensional consciousness. We're moving out of this fourth dimensional consciousness collectively into the fifth dimensional consciousness. Our vision of 2020 in this year 23 has had to be part of it so that we can see clearly, not with the physical eyes anymore of the old template of humanity, but from the higher conscious divine lens, so we can see through the impurity. That's why our templates have had to be purified, so we can be living antennas, living transmitters of these streaming lights coming in, so we can anchor in. But the blockages from our attachments of the human consciousness that has been tied to, let's say, the political system, let's say the family, all of this has not given many others to still be bursted into this luminosity. And that's where it becomes very important not to judge any of them. The timeline is still readjusting, but as a collective, every single human, there's almost 8 billion people on earth, did receive the activation of this solar flash. And it is within, it will take a while for it to go through their different bodies so that they can go through the restructuring of the re-engineered template of the crystalline, like it is the crystalline light that can be reconnected, and it can breathe in the consciousness of the omnipresence within it. So hopefully this makes sense, and I'm very grateful you have been with me to hear this, because I wanted to break it down for you. It's been amazing when I experienced this Tuesday night. It took me a while to come back. So much revelation took place. And when I traveled from the dimension of consciousness as I was, I mean, it was like I'm not breathing at all. I'm just not even a body. I'm nothing. And I went through this time travel very, very fast at the galactic speed, seeing all the coding. And I entered, the dimensional plane that I entered was pure solar flash. And I got hit by that. And I got to sit in its luminosity, the luminous plasma frequency, where my entire body had to receive that so that it can become a living consciousness. And some of the consciousness that took place will take place in our New Year's Eve ceremony. And why I also want to address that part, because I got to also viscerally experience the living presence. So, from this point forward, we've spoken of the embodiment being a living Christ. A living Christ is a birthright in all of us. Our beloved Jesus became a living Christ. And all of that consciousness has been pointed within, and many of the other magnificent luminaries that incarnated onto earth brought the consciousness back to help us just remember that it is not happening outside of you, it is happening within you, and how deep you're willing to face what you need to face to then allow the treasures to be brought forth, to then be earthed into this crystalline grid through its breath. You have to understand, Gaia's breath breathes this consciousness in its there's 7 different grid systems. For several years, I was assigned to the 3rd grid system, which is the golden liquid light, which is working with the Magdalene Yeshua frequency, or the keys and the codes of that. And it is breathing. That's where there's a lot of this dragon consciousness to open that breath back. And why I want to share this, because all of us are able to connect with this breath, and it is the breath within. So, and we have had 2020, a divine perfection experience, crowning each of us with the real golden crown. And though it's been attempted to be covered, I don't want to say the word to trigger response here, and to mask the breath that wants to be earth. But this be earth through its eternal breath cannot be ever suppressed, diminished, held back, though it's been attempted. And that has been a big part of the consciousness in so many of us, standing in our resurrection, being able to see clear and not giving consent to it. That's why it has been so much more than just, oh, I'm going to cover this so that others don't get sick. What we're speaking of is so much larger in its consciousness, and those of us who recognize that consciousness, we have had to choose to not give our consent so that we can move into this 1221 to be able to accept the luminous nature of our HUluminousity, luminous beingness, there you go. And from there, be earth through our breath, and that's why we cannot be covered. We cannot be chipped and programmed with outer stimuli, any kind of infiltration, because the holy temple of the crystalline being of light is now a living, present temple that is here, so that the great, mighty I Am presence can, through the holy Christus light, the Christ itself, can now pull in the higher goods into this for delivery of the golden age. Each of us carrying the full spectrum of luminosity, so our ray will become the living currency. I really hope this makes sense. That's why all of this are connected with each other. That's why some of us that specially came into divine encounter partnership, like Michael and I 4 years ago, we have had to go through our own to hone these and allow the fullness of this freedom's flame, which is the ascension flame that's been attained, that is now ordained, can be brought forth for service from the luminous nature of humanity. We do not need anything on this outside, because all within has already been all inclusive, already embedded, imprinted within the DNA. So the DNA has expanded to bring this consciousness, and that's why we cannot give consent also to some of these things that want to reshift this DNA to its strands that were of let's say back to 2 strands, because we've become, many of us already at 6 strands, many 8, many 10, not as many 12, but many have arisen in that resurrection and the light of it. So let me just find out if there's any specific questions or comments that you have made that I can answer, and I trust this is received, and I will then just take us into a decree and a living transmission in light code. So let me see. Hello Demetrius, hello Ram, hello Chris, hello Carlos, and hello Monica. So thank you for being present with me today. So what I like to have you do is just sit back and place your hands on your heart and let yourself really come to the center of your heart's flame. Allow your heart's flame to fully be connected to that sacred breath as you gently breathe in and breathe out. Let it go through your out breath. As you breathe in the conscious presence and awareness, and calling in your holy Christed crystal self into this breath, breathing it in and breathing it out. And with each breath that you take, allow this luminous golden field of light expand all around your outer field. With each breath you take, let it be piercing in the golden liquid light of this crystal slide. And take another deep breath in into your heart. Breathe it out and let that breath carry all the way to the outer edge of your spiritual body, where all your bodies are fully saturated in the luminous golden liquid light. And now as you bring your conscious presence into your sacred heart's flame, asking for the plasma light from the great consciousness of your mighty I Am, be welcomed into this now through all planes of conscious existence, through the divine gateway of your chakra, bringing it all the way up in its consciousness, to the galactic chakra, descending it down to the universal chakra, to the celestial chakra of your soul star plane, to your crown the high heart, solar plexus, sacral, root, earth star chakra, and the five lower earth chakras that are connected to the 5 different ley lines. And finally, the last one connected to the center of Gaia's crystalline, diamond, golden rose and heart. And right inside her heart, which is a diamond light, connecting in this vertical axis. As I ask your presence to connect right in your heart in its luminous, purified light, connecting to the heart of Gaia, and connecting all the way up to the heart of the mighty I Am presence. And from front of your heart, connecting to all dimensional fields of consciousness, planes, worlds, and the back of your heart, connecting to all planets, stars, galaxies, solar systems, in the horizontal field and the vertical field, connecting in the grand juncture of your own heart in its unification, allowing the solar crystalline disk to fully be expanded vertically and horizontally as you just breathe in here and breathe out, dear hearts. And now we'll call in the crystalline tube of light decree for all of us before I do the living light transmission. Breathe in, breathe out as you call in all your guides and connecting to this crystalline fiery tube of light placed all around you, covering your entire lower bodies, and allowing the action of the violet flame to be above you and below you, front you, behind you, and all around you, as well as God's will, blue ray of light. Almighty I Am, true self within, Alpha and Omega, heaven descend and fill my being, my auric field, with a mighty, brilliant, white ovate shield. Into my field blaze violet fire, freeing flame of lightning power, transmuting all dross of human creation, freeing my soul from all false separation. I am now one with my I Am source, merging with the all-powerful force, connecting me with all beings in kind, loving oneness in all mankind. Tube of light, strengthen my being, violet fire blazing, singing, protect, defend, and lift my soul. Mighty I Am presence, I am whole. We ask for the crystalline tube of light to be placed upon all of us, and through this call, and throughout the whole planet, throughout the entire earth, covering all beings of light, in their magnificent crystalline tube of light, as we call in the Holy Christ selves of all to join and step forward into their physical template of light, as we call in the plasma light to be connected to the DNA consciousness of all beings on planet Earth, to remember the nature of its true divinity, of the omnipresence, of the radiance of the rainbow spectrum of light that it is as a living consciousness, fully embedded and fully eternal, as an immortal presence with the self-fed flame that can never fail. As you breathe it in and breathe it out, relax and allow your golden roots underneath to just fully connect to these 5 different crystalline ley lines on earth, the grid system, so you're fully connected in this place. Continue to breathe as I'll get deeper into this living light stream transmission. Iranumuya tunarimikia muataya muritanai mukai inaruataya mukuyaiki arutuaya makindayaru sekrekchina namu yenai tekrekre tekmutasetsita masate shumiteketekrekre samuka kinandaya mutari kuati atai Uswaiki and TMORAC E A tu or ANT Miki E tu U E A E C E U I E ta E U shu E ki in A U un A E in O A sik in U A E ta ki U tu E A E mo A ki E A ti mi Kwatinai kanala kakrekneat. Breathe in and breathe out. Let's ground this. And here I'm going to invite you, just feel into your heart and breathe in the ma sound from the cavity of your heart's chamber, the ma reaching the heavens with that sound. Breathe it in. Breathe that in and breathe it out. Breathe it into your heart again and visualize it go directly into the grids of earth. And one more time, take a deep in breath in and breathe it in. Be earth. We give great thanks to this now, to this transmission, to this living presence, to this moment, to the plasma radiance of our luminosity of luminous beings. Humanity is what feels right to me. Humanity. The rainbow tribe is what we are when we're bridging the brain hemispheres and we're braining the heart chamber. We enter the king, queen's chamber of our heart. We experience the grand conjuncture and allowing it to fully be grounded here in our earthly physical expression, bringing the luminosity of our eternal presence, be earthing it, birthing it, breathing it, and living it. And so it is, and so it is, and so it is. Thank you so much for your presence. Thank you so much for your awareness. Thank you so much for here being with me through this beautiful gathering and with your holy Christed selves. Mighty I am in me, I am in thee, thyself in me. Thy victorious mind, thy hopes divine, God sees all in pure love sublime. Mighty I am, mighty I am, mighty I am. I love that from Ascension now, they're amazing. Have the most incredible KrystMass Eve, wherever you are, however you're celebrating it. We are a family of light, a tribe of light. We are luminous light beings. We are here to radiate the living presence of our light, not dim it in any way. We are not a human being. We are a luminous being within the human form with a very specific task here on earth, birthing the ascension into the light of freedom, liberation, joy, peace, true divine power, true true divinity. And so it is. I love you all so much. Thank you for being here with me. Thank you for breathing with me.